All right. If we talk about the topic of UFOs, we should mention this particular person, Bob Lazar, right?
Yep.
He's been in the forefront of UFO topic for a very long time.
Yeah.
Right. You look up any UFO videos or articles related to UFOs, and you try to go back to its origins or questions like when did this all started, how did this news come to public, or you lead any of those threads, you catch on any of those threads, you will end up with Bob Lazar being in one of those threads, right? So yeah, let's talk about Bob Lazar today. So what are your thoughts? Who do you think Bob Lazar is?
Yeah, he was someone who really came into public view around 1989. That's when he came out and gave a bombshell news that he was working in a reverse engineering program at Area 51. And specifically, he said like a facility called S4.
Looks back at that 1989 interview that started a whole new conversation.
The claims sounded like Hollywood sci-fi. Months later, when his identity was revealed, Bob Lazar said he worked at a secret facility near Groom Lake, where alien technology was being reverse engineered, that is, taken apart to figure out how it worked.
So one of his claim was he was tasked to reverse engineer a propulsion device from an alien aircraft. It was a big claim, and something where I would say he was a person who really made Area 51 famous. Before that, like Area 51 was like, okay, what is Area 51? But then that's when it became a mainstream name, I would say. So you know Area 51, right? Like so.
The infamous Area 51.
Yeah, you might know about how it started, or
Right, like America's most secretive military base out there, right, which was never acknowledged by the US government before. But once people like Bob Lazar start coming out with claims that they have worked there on alien spacecrafts and whatnot, and not just him, but many others like him, US government had to finally agree that yes, something like that exists. Area 51 is a real thing, and then it's one of their secret military bases, right?
Yeah, it is one of the most secret facility. In fact, like they can just shoot you for no reason if you're just like anywhere in the vicinity. I don't know if you know, 80% of the land in Nevada state, which is like, for people who are not familiar with US states, like so Nevada is the place which is like everyone should know Las Vegas. So it's like it's in the state of Nevada. So almost 80% of the land is owned by federal government. It's crazy, right? Like why the government needs to own that much of a area?
I mean, you could say that it's not really a fertile land or something to grow crops. It's mostly desert. So US government can just get away with that fact, saying, oh, there is nothing to do, so we own the land. But who knows what they do under the ground, right? Like you mentioned, 80% of the land is owned by US government, so we don't know what the hell is going on there. And these days, I think they even have like a 20-mile radius within which you cannot enter the area, and Area 51 is in the middle of this 20-mile radius, right? So like you mentioned, they can just shoot at sight or whatever just by you crossing that line. So it's that crazy, right?
Yeah, and there were a lot of dumb people who tried to storm Area 51. It's like, I don't know, they thought like, okay, that's one way to kind of expose what's there, but that's like the dumbest thing to do. It's because the government holds a lot of secret, and maybe some of the things which really need to be kept secret, because they might be building some of the programs, the next generation of aircrafts or something which is like really top secret. Okay,
right. They
should have a set of compartmentalized area to build that. So it's also a testing facility. So the way it started was, it's around like I believe 1955. That's when Lockheed Martin worked with the US government. They contracted and built this facility along with CIA. to really say, okay, how secure the facility should be, and it's like they have invested a lot of money, and no one really public knowledge has a public knowledge to know, okay, exactly what all things goes on. But obviously, the Congress and the government must be informed on what is happening, because again, it's funded by the federal government.
Right. And you mentioned Lockheed Martin. Are they one of those contractors for U.S. government that?
Yeah. They are one of the
manufactures
biggest
weapons
defense
and
contractors.
defense contractors, right?
Yeah.
And they even till date, they're one of the contractors, I believe.
Yeah, they
right?
are one of the top contractors. They are famous for building the Blackbird project and a lot of interesting.
Right, and were they also
projects.
involved with the manufacturing of the stealth fighter that
The stealth
US
B-2 bomber, if you are really specific, I think that's Northrop Grumman. It's a different company.
It's a different
Yeah, it's a
contracting
different company.
Okay. Anyway, that's interesting fact about the contracting companies and how they are working with U.S. government hand in hand to create these super confidential and highly sophisticated missionaries, right? But anyways, going back to Bob Lazar topic.
Yeah.
So, what did Bob Lazar really see in Area 51, as he claims that he's worked there for a long time on these reverse engineering concepts of alien spacecraft? What did he actually see in Area 51?
So, he said, or he claimed, he actually saw an alien craft,
Okay.
an actual UFO. He was working with it, and he famously named it a sports model because, I don't know, why not, right? And he also claimed that he had the chance to get inside of the aircraft. And one of the weird description he was giving was it had a seat, 3 small seat to be more specific, which is like really small in size. It won't fit a average human adult. It seemed like something for a kid size of a seat. And he also mentioned where he saw 9 other aircraft, alien aircraft.
In the same base where he
in the
was.
same base. It was just like once he managed to see that, he couldn't work with everything, because the way all these works is in a very compartmentalized way. So the person who works, this is what he was claiming, where like he didn't have access to other crafts. So one he was working was the traditional flying saucer kind of a shape.
Okay.
And he managed to see that, and he even entered the craft once, and he had the chance to work and dig through the propulsion system, which he claimed about like anti-gravity and a lot of tech, how it worked and things. Maybe they didn't know exactly how it worked, but they were trying to figure out like
Right. That's what reverse engineering is all
Yes,
about.
that's what it is. Reverse
You figure out how this foreign technology works. I mean, usually when we read about UFOs that's crash landed and whatever agency retrieved it, they say it's not penetratable, right? You cannot open and get inside. But he claims that he did get inside one of these aircrafts and try to see how it works. That's a big claim, if you ask me.
It's a big claim. It's definitely a big claim. Else, like we wouldn't be talking about him now.
Right. So, what is the? Do people really believe his story?
So that's the thing, right? Like he has done a lot of claiming. Even he mentioned where like, okay, he saw people flew the craft once, and
Like
it's
humans.
a human, actual human,
Okay.
flew the craft once. At least like the time he saw this, like he was there, I think like just for 6 months. It's definitely a big claim, and it came with a lot of believers and non-believers, as in any topic, especially in UFO. Like, okay, you're gonna have people who are gonna debunk, because that's other problem, right? Like when you don't have an authority or a belief, or not like a belief, a data-centric way of approaching this, where like it's just like more of a hearsay, or like someone coming
Right.
and saying things, right? Like how you can believe this, where it's such a big statement.
Right.
It's literally out of this world kind of a statement, right?
Right. Exactly.
So in that way, where They did like a lot of tests, and one of the things is like they did like a polygraph test, and even in that, I think it was mostly conclusive.
That's quite a serious.
But polygraph test,
right?
like it always like it's not the best of a thing. I would say it's like always
you can
debated.
manipulate.
You can manipulate if you are good enough, and it's okay. And there were always a lot of details which were like bit murky. One of the thing is some of the claims he did where when he said like he studied at Caltech or Stanford, and when people dug into it, there was no records of him. And so some other thing didn't check out what he was claiming. And even, for example, some other people claimed he never really worked at S4, and some people said like he had something as a badge checker. He has to just check the employee's badge or something like that, kind of a menial task.
Like not the propulsion engineer.
Something like that. Like, so that's all. Some of the people who wanted to debunk his stuff, but doesn't mean like again just because like you have a lack of evidence doesn't mean like everything is wrong, because like some of these secret projects, like people completely become MIA, like you won't even know what's their background. So it's not surprising, and that's and you would have also heard about things like how people reacted, right, like on this topic.
Right. Yeah. I mean, since the beginning, right, this topic itself is kind of like it's fictional, right? That's how it
feels.
Came to be. It feels that way too. You're not ready to accept this as something that's really happening, right? And to corroborate that's how things have been portrayed all along until recently, where more and more evidences are coming out, and we're able to prove that it is not a false news, or at least it's getting tough to debunk them these days, because the videos that we recently saw are real, as claimed by the US government, and it's not some random guy in the street, right? Like an authorized agency has approved these videos. So debunking is getting tough these days. So I mean, we cannot right away reject this person, Bob Lazar, and he's not someone that's just got into this space. He's been here for 30 plus years in this, surrounding the topic of UFOs, and he's like all over the internet. Like whoever is interested in UFOs would know Bob Lazar, right? He's been interviewed by multiple big name podcasters like Joe Rogan and many other people, right? So he does have some level of credibility to his claims, is what I think. What do you think? How much of his story do you believe?
Before I give my opinion on what I feel about Bob Lazar's claims, I would like to point one of the most commonly used debunking point against Bob Lazar, which is where they say Bob Lazar had a business of illegal fireworks.
Okay.
He kind of made some chemical concussion, and I don't know what all things they claimed. And the other point is he was running a brothel business.
Sure. Yeah. That's typical of debunking someone. When you're debunking someone, you want to choose something that's very tabooish kind of topic, and then say, "Oh, they did this."
Yeah. But I would say I don't know how credible that claim is.
Right.
But
we don't.
Even if that's the case, right? That doesn't disprove anything which the other person has claimed, right? Like so, whatever he did in this business has nothing to do with what the other person. It's like the same way how say Hitler. Someone says, "Oh, Hitler liked puppies." Right? No, it's impossible. You cannot say like it's impossible. Just because like Hitler has been a really bad guy and everything doesn't mean like he shouldn't have liked puppies.
Right.
It's like we shouldn't form a
That's
halo effect.
one part of him.
Yeah.
There are like so many other parts that he could be, or he can be.
Yes. I'm not saying okay, this person has done this, but I'm saying like okay, we are more interested on the things which he's claiming. I'm not saying okay, completely his claims are true. The other part is like since like we all like said okay, people have been saying oh there is no credentials or all these details. It's crazy to think that someone will have a missing birth certificate, or there is no kind of history. Like it all went missing, and he doesn't have any background information where he did his schooling.
Okay.
He did study. He's definitely someone who's educated,
right?
At least to certain high school level. We can confirm that,
right?
And why a person's information has been scrapped off? Like he's not there. And they took a lot of effort, and they did finally find, I think, Los Alamos laboratory, there was a telephone directory which did include his name. So he was an employee. So Los Alamos was a different facility. It was something not like in Area 51, but that's something he did mention. But initially people said, "Oh no, he never worked here and nothing." But then he did work there, and there is a proof that he was there. It was in the telephone directory. And then also the other factor, he was named in a public local newspaper where. He was something where he tried to build a Honda car with like a jet engine. He just added, so that is something quite eccentric, like someone who is doing that, like he will be known, and this person was that person what he claimed in that sense. So it seems like there has been something which had happened. I don't know if it was some deliberate conspiracy which went in terms of trying to kind of hide some of the information about this person, but it's really difficult to confirm all of his assertions. But one thing which remains true is all of his claims has been a definite intriguing thing in terms of UFO culture, and it still remains.
Right. True. Yeah. I mean, when some of the articles or some of the information that I was able to read also corroborates that he has been consistent in this story for the past 30 years, right? And he was not saying one thing one day and the totally different thing the other day. And he also explained how these alien spaceships work when he worked at the S4 base, right? And it corroborates to how these recent videos that we saw on the Kimball video or the Tic Tac videos, and how these spaceship maneuvers, it corresponds to exactly how he mentioned that these would perform, right? So some of these does make me believe, yeah, he's probably telling the truth, but a healthy amount of skepticism is important, especially in this topic and on people who talk about this topic saying they did this, they did that. But yeah, his Honda car with the jet engine is an interesting story, and looks like he built the jet engine, put on his Honda car, and he used to drive that car to his work every day, waking everyone up in the neighborhood.
Yeah, you definitely would have made some noise there. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like I said, it's Bob Lazar definitely is an iconic figure when it comes to UFO. And he has fascinated people, and he has kind of created so much of interest, and I would say he's one of an important figure to kind of bring UFO to the interest of public. Yeah.
He for sure raised my curiosity, right? Truth or not, it definitely increased the curiosity in me and many other people.